You too. Lift your arms up in the air. There you go. Go, 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 go. That was miserable.
As miserable as the camera shot was.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Glad you guys having a good time. I've been a wreck this entire day, wasting my time in that great Rise of Lyric versus Sonic 06 debate. Next time, I'm going to try and see if I can get that in a bigger room next time, because I know a lot of people showed up for that and they couldn't all fit in. There's a lot of bloodshed. Yeah.
Who won? Who won the debate? Who won?
Sonic 06. I made sure of that. Alright, so pretty much how the panel's going to be situated is that I'm just going to spend just a quick couple of minutes talking about like how I set up reviews and all that sort of thing. I don't really have a PowerPoint ready for that, but I do have for you guys the first look on a review that I have ready for the channel, but you guys, as TMG guests, are going to get to it first.
Yeah.
Originally, the plan was to do like a live performance, like a live reading of a review. I did it a couple of times, tried to rehearse it. It ended up not working because at the end of the day, I'm not like a full-blown comedian. You know, I can't go crazy like on the top of my head. I'm very relaxed, like mundane. You give me a cup of coffee and I'm like a sedated creature. So I figured it probably just let's play it safe. Let's get them a video ready to go. So with that said, I understand that for everyone in the back, the projector is kind of small. So I apologize for that, but it's going to be up on YouTube anyway. Okay, well, before that. So I started YouTube around 2008 because I kind of went briefly into this in the Sonic Chronicles video. It was a time where I was unemployed. I was pretty heavily depressed because I was in between jobs and I was just starting at the Art Institute of Philadelphia. Wasn't entirely sure how my career was going to pan out at that point. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but then I started watching James Rolfe and Doug Walker, the Nostalgia Critic and Angry Video Game Nerds respectively, and I saw what they did and I thought, I think I can do that. Not entirely sure. I started off by bitching about Kingdom Hearts. And
Full circle.
yeah, it's come full circle. Look forward to the Chain of Memories review in about 3 months from now. But after a while, I started experimenting with a few things here and there. Like I did rants, I did discussions of a few things, did a couple of podcasts. I don't remember if Elliot remembers this, but hey, Elliot's right there in the top. You know, we did a couple of podcast discussions with a shitty ass mic. By the way, if there are any kids in the audience, welcome to your first ever convention. I don't really have a language filter, so I apologize if anybody's have their ears bleeding. So we started with like little podcasts and stuff like that, and then after a while we decided, I got this little camera here. It was a shitty camera. It was like one of those you can buy at a Walmart or a Target. I think it was like 0.2 megapixels or something like that. And we didn't know anything about lighting, but we shot some videos, and that eventually led to like one of our first SUV reviews, which was, I believe, it was Dead Rising.
It was one of the first.
It was one of the first, and it shows. You know, because you know, I wore this gray hoodie with a Michael Myers mask, with a knife, and Elliot, despite the fact that you think he's getting hunted by a serial killer, he's smiling the entire video. But to be fair, you were like 12, 13 years old.
12 or 13.
You were 12, 13, like what? Yeah. And you haven't been the same since. But we really had a good time doing that, and eventually I just wanted to further pursue that. But I had a difficult time finding my niche, and I didn't want to be a full-blown AVGN clone. That's what the irate gamer's for. I'm pretty sure I'm never going to meet that man, so I don't care.
You say that now.
Then around that time I also ran into the Nostalgia Critic, who I love. He has a great sense of humor and all that, and I just was following it all cylinders. So after a while, and after about my 36th cup of Pepsi that month, I started mellowing out. Like I laid back. I was like, I'm too stressed out. I'm too worked up. I just need to relax. And then after a while, it's like I just got more and more comfortable with that. It's like one thing people tell me to do. I mean it as an honest to God compliment, that my videos put them to sleep. Because they like that my voice is very soothing. I was like, great. You're probably really insulting me, but I don't care. Like, favorite and subscribe. But a lot of people ask me, like, what exactly is the process of the review? And for a while, I used to, the Angry Video Game Nerd did a video where he was the making of an AVGN episode. I think it was Barbie, one of those things. But as I used to point people in the direction of that, it's like, it's pretty much that. But for the sake of detail, basically, no matter what the console, what the game, well, it's much easier on a PC game. Because I have a dual monitor setup. And basically what I like to do is get a notepad out, or a Microsoft Word document, whatever's close, a laptop or a notepad, and I write notes. I record in like 2-hour spurts. Because I don't like to go over 3 because it just becomes a mess. And if I have too many notes, then that makes it a pain in the ass to look back when I have to reference a video clip for writing a review. And so I break up the notes into sessions, session 1, session 2, etc., and then I write my general thoughts of what happens in this session here. I fell through the floor here. I can't get off the wall here. And that's how Sonic 06 took 3 weeks to make. But essentially that's how it breaks down. But also what's really important is timestamps. Like the exact moment something that you want to reference happens, so that when you're compiling that video, you know exactly where to go. Because I've done that plenty of times where I don't have a timestamp, and what should be a 12-hour editing process becomes 16 hours because I'm shuffling through my video footage like an adult, wondering, where did I have a heart attack? I think that's what happened. But then after that, I look at my notes, and I think about the experience. I think about, what can I make out of this? And then from there, I just make a general script. I make a general script, keep in mind of my word count, because I think my Sonic 06 video was about 20,000 words. Microsoft Word was like 15, 20 pages. And I said to myself, never again. So I keep an active look at my word count, make sure what's redundant, can I get rid of this? My script pretty much goes through like 3-4 revisions from top to bottom. And then afterwards I think about, all right, is there any point where I can at least try to be funny, or like that? Maybe I can make a little jab here. I don't like trying to make that the focal point of my video. I mean, if I think I got a joke, I'll tell a joke. But I'm not a comedian in any sense of the word. At least I don't think I am anyway. And a lot of times what ends up happening is that I'll edit something, and then in the middle of editing the clip, I'll get an idea for like a video reference or something like that. It's like, I think people will like that. And basically that's the entire process of it. I would say it's not really difficult, it's just tedious. I firmly believe that even if you don't like get an education in it, anybody can do what I do. If you got the time, if you got the patience, you got the fortitude, you got the passion for it. You know, you're sitting on a chair a long time, but you know, that goes without saying for a lot of people what I do in life, whether you make art, you make films, all that stuff. So that's generally what I wanted to do, but the end result is something I'm going to show you now, and I apologize if I make your ears bleed a little bit. There's no jump scares or anything like that, don't worry about that. So...
solemnly swear it.
No. So this TooManyGames is Sonic themed. People like my Sonic stuff. I already did Sonic 06, it's okay, calm down. So I had to think, I was like, well, I'll let the video speak for itself, so. Sexy motherfucker.
Pennsylvania genetics.
Hello there, TooManyGames, and for all those watching this on YouTube, I swear this is part of the Kingdom Hearts marathon in some form or fashion. I just gonna need a little time to work on that chronology. So, Sonic Mania. It's almost here at the time of this video. I'm excited for it, as are many others. But when I started watching some of the first gameplay videos uploaded, I noticed something peculiar. Now, I'm not talking about the dazzling graphics, magnificent soundtrack, or the fact that the death they grew up at Attachio as early as Green Hill Zone. Hey, I recognize that. That's the combined ring from Knuckles Chaotix. Sonic themed. You couldn't ask ask for a better time. So before we head into the future, let's step back into the past with the only time Knuckles ever got the spotlight for himself. Let's take a look at Knuckles Chaotix. Alright, before we head into that, I think it was appropriate we talk about Knuckles Chaotix prototype, Sonic Crackers. I mean, why? Why was it called that, even if it wasn't a prototype? I'm thinking the ASCII title screen here. It's almost like we're playing a really old Sonic game for MS-DOS. That's all we have here, is the other options don't really do anything of any importance. You can only play this on an emulator, obviously. It shouldn't be too hard to track down, but I wouldn't recommend wasting your time. There's barely anything here. A major gameplay mechanic of Knuckles Chaotix was the ring tether, binding you and your partner together until death do you part. Marriage, in other words. But it's clearly still your Sonic and Tails can screw physics all together and lose their mind. There's no sound effects whatsoever, bearing a couple of music pieces. And need I say, oh my god, Sonic, your arms! Apparently, as Tails likes to lose his limbs too. What is this world doing to them? And after 3 minutes, the stage abruptly ends, playing the game over music oddly. And afterwards, the game, oh, Sonic Labyrinth! I will never understand why they didn't just make this a Sega Saturn launch title, as that was released just a couple of months later in America and was already out in Japan in late 1994. True, Sonic's not the star in this, but nobody gave a flying shit about the 32X. It's only something you get nowadays for novelty's sake. That's why I got mine. Have you ever seen some of these adverts for the 32X?
Mommy, what are those two Sega machines doing?
With the damn console. If you thought that wasn't subtle enough, oh yes, more, faster! Console fucking. You were talking about console fucking. To release a Sonic game for the add-on to give it some sort of support, but this felt like very half-hearted support, as I think even Sega themselves thought the game was gonna flop. Why else would they have Knuckles take the helm? I'll tell you why, so he can act as the fall boy in case people didn't like it. It's the same reason why they would give Shadow a gun and not Sonic. They're all test subjects, every single one of them. Knuckles Chaotix takes our rougher than the rest of them akin to this mysterious island where Dr. Eggman is set up base alongside his companion Metal Sonic. The Doctor has taken interest in the island's so-called Chaos Rings. Oh, Jesus Christ, it's the 7 world rings again! Eggman. So he sets out to collect them all, prompting Knuckles to step in and put a stop to his nefarious plans. But Knuckles isn't the only one on the island, for several interesting characters have shown up for their own personal reasons that are never elaborated on unless you have the manual. Mighty the Armadillo, Espio the Chameleon, Charmy Bee, and Vector the Crocodile. Team Chaotix plus Mighty. Not sure most are familiar with their Sonic Heroes counterparts, but Knuckles Chaotix is where they made their debut, minus the personality traits. Vector isn't a great detective, Charmy isn't murdering my eardrums, and Espio sure as hell no ninja. I can see him just fine. Shit, Mighty would make for a better ninja because I haven't seen his ass since this game. Armadillo, in fact, originated from the arcade-only Sega Sonic the Hedgehog. I would love to play this Hedgehog. Knuckles Chaotix? That's what we call a video error, by the way. He's essentially the not Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, just look at his sprite work. He's the original Sonic fan character. Everyone else is not too far off from sharing Knuckles' movesets, who can once again glide in midair and climb up walls. Now, Vector and Espio can climb up walls too, while Mighty just straight up wall jumps. Vector has this short air dash that can be aimed in all 8 directions, so that's kind of neat. Charmy, on the other hand, he just takes this hammer. He shatters the game in half. He can fly, and unlike Tails, he never tires out, and he can dash in whatever direction he pleases. And that dash can also destroy enemies in boss fights. I got a feeling this is who the developers used for beta testing, because with Charmy, you don't have to put effort into anything. I'm struggling to see what makes Espio unique. Like, I think he can climb walls the fastest, at least that's what I got from playing him, but other than that, he's got nothing else. He can't glide, and I guess he could change colors while remaining still and really looking like he doesn't want to be here. In fact, no one looks like they want to be here. Not Knuckles, not Mighty, not Espio. Charmy's Charmy, and Vector is too distracted with his headphones. The hell is he listening to? Knuckles Chaotix takes these characters through Eggman's base of operations, the new Trojic. What the shit is this? Well, it consists of 5 zones total, which I know doesn't sound like much, but every zone contains 5 whole acts apiece. Mother of God. Now, the zones are chosen at random via this roulette wheel every time you complete a single act. I guess to help alleviate the monotony, but unfortunately it doesn't mean much, for these zones are monotony incarnate. I'll explain that in a second. Mechanically, Knuckles Chaotix is not much different than your standard 2D Sonic game at this point. There are shield power-ups, rings to keep you alive, invincibility, speed shoes, and some variety of secrets. There's these giant rings scattered in every stage, and they don't lead to special stages, but rather these short and confusing diving sequences where you try and grab rings. The problem here, besides the control being awful, is that your rings are drained the longer you stay inside, so it can end up detrimental to your total ring count, which you want to stay high if you want to enter the special stage at the end of the act, because like Sonic 1, you need at least 50 rings for the portal to appear. Now, to give some honest-to-God credit to Knuckles Chaotix, I think these special stages are legitimately interesting. It's a combination of the classic half-pipe from Sonic 2 and Blue Sphere from Sonic 3, with the difficulty curve I find just right. You gotta collect a certain number of blue spheres before reaching the checkpoint, but if you don't meet the quota, you're not immediately kicked out. Rather, the stage continues to loop until you either get the required spheres, fall off the arena, or run out of rings, which acts as a timer. The more rings you collected before entering the special stage, the greater amount of time you have to complete these instances, and that's a great way to give the players a reason to collect and hold on to as many rings as possible in the stage, because come on, besides needing the extra hit point, which you only need 1 ring to do that, and maybe scoring some extra lives, was there any reason to grab as many rings as possible in earlier games? This game attempts to give the rings a greater sense of purpose, and it's not like there are any lives in Knuckles Chaotix anyway. In a way, it's kind of progressive like that. Though individual control doesn't feel quite as tight as the Genesis games, there's still a close second, so a lot of what I can do in the other games I can do here. I don't like how they nerfed the spin dash though, and I know why it was done, but whenever I attempt to use it, I'm only reminded of the main thing that keeps me away from this game. Before the start of every stage, you can head to this crane game and select your partner. You can't control the crane to your liking, and the character slots like to shuffle around a lot, so choosing a preferred partner is a matter of chance a lot of the time, and if you're not careful, you can end up with the 2 joke characters in Knuckles Chaotix, Heavy and Bomb. Now, I don't mind Heavy as much, because yes, while he is slower than erosion, he's also completely indestructible. One of my favorite things to do is simply grab him and plow through enemy forces like a hot knife through butter. Bomb, on the other hand, no. There's nothing special about him, no benefits whatsoever, and if he gets hit, he has an explosive reaction that can end up hurting your ass. Like, no shit, if I end up getting Bomb in the crane game, I reset the game most of the time. But let's be real here, no matter the partner, the foundation of Knuckles Chaotix is inherently flawed. So following up from the prototype, you are forever tethered to your partner, and completing these stages require that you use the tether to get both characters across whatever slopes, loops, or multi-layer level design the game places throughout. A concept easy to grasp, but in execution falls flat on its 32-bit ass. Unless it's for a basic speed boost, which to be fair isn't hard to do, the tether will end up working against you rather than with you. You make a tether will jump only for your partner to yank you back down and possibly collide with an enemy. If one player isn't going as fast as the other, both will slow down and reach a compromise. It's like playing a Sonic game with a physical handicap. Like if you were playing Sonic 2 co-op, but you literally couldn't proceed unless both players performed optimally at the same time, which is next to impossible with this sort of gameplay. And honestly, I don't see the point. If you master the tether mechanics, the most you get is top speed and height, but those are things you can easily achieve in previous games with springs and the spin dash, without the need for this rubber band. Again, needless handicap. Throughout the whole game, the tether will continuously yank the control away from the player, whether you're rolling down slopes, throwing your partners towards something, or those who know how irritated I get when I'm not in complete control of my actions, because I would rather it be my fault for not meeting whatever challenge the game throws at me, instead of having to deal with the repercussions of something clearly not designed to work with the high-speed antics of classic Sonic the Hedgehog. And adding insult to injury are the stages themselves. It's bad enough that there are 5 acts instead of the standard 2, but besides the change in scenery, which are admittedly gorgeous, it's like Sonic CD made sweet love to the 32X. Hey, I could be as lewd as I want, didn't stop these assholes from doing it. End up blending in together. It's a mundane adventure because there isn't so much in enemies. You only fight something resembling a boss at the end of the 5th act, which are completely pathetic, and there's not much in stage hazards. Often the biggest obstacle is just getting the tether to work for you correctly, and I think the developers knew that, so as an apology, they decided to remove other means of harm from every stage. There are no set pieces to gawk at, no reason to stop and look around. The most interesting the game ever gets is with Amazing Arena, where you have to find the switch to turn on the lights, otherwise you can't complete the stage. It gives me a reason to explore and get invested in the level, but again, not for 5 straight acts. That's just draining no matter what the gimmick. And for every other occasion, I'm simply holding right, left, and jumping when I need to, because there's almost nothing that can get in my way or interact with besides this godforsaken rubber band. Not even the final boss leaves much an impression. First off, it comes out of nowhere. How do you go from a small blue robot to sweet Jesus? On the plus side, it would take longer than an episode of Sonic Boom from Metal Sonic to transform into this, but despite this size, he's dead before you know it, and it's not a very appealing reward for going after all the Chaos Rings. In fact, the bad ending is much better in my opinion, where Dr. Eggman incinerates the whole island. I mean, finally, something interesting. And I always found it funny when Sonic and Tails show up in the end graphic when you complete the game, as if they were saying, "Is it over yet? Kiss my ass, Sonic." But seriously, Knuckles Chaotix is worth about as much time and effort that was placed into it. So nothing, in other words. I mean, to its credit, the game looks and sounds just fine. Until Sonic Mania, you won't find a 2D Sonic game that has such a vivid color palette. I think it beats Sonic CD in that department, and that game was already... The colors feel so good. Completely crazy with the 32X enhancements, with the exception to the special stages, which look ripped straight out of Star Fox. And at times the game's frame rate dips, leading to questionable hit detection and unpredictable color errors. Oh shit, look alive, it's Super Vector, hero of Mobius and long-lost brother to Big the Cluster. Try out the stage select code and pick these assortment of stars as your main character. Now, I don't know who the shit this is supposed to be, but with his ashy white fur and burning red eyes, I'm dubbing him as Numbles the Coke Fiend. Sonic Forces this holiday season. The soundtrack is great, as I would expect from the franchise. I mean, who doesn't love Door into Summer? Now that's a great piece of music there. Not my favorite from this generation, but pretty catchy and atmospheric in its own way. It's not every day we get good atmospheric music from Genesis. Use the sound test if you must. Look at this, even Amy Rose thinks highly of the soundtrack. If you want a Sonic game with the partner mechanics done right, then you play Sonic Advance 3. If you're willing to put up with everything else wrong with that game, I still don't like it. Anyway, that's it. I think I'm all set for Sonic Mania now. Oh shit, I never did explain what the combined ring power-up of Knuckles Chaotix did I? Well, if you grabbed it and then took a hit, you can grab all your rings back instead of having them scatter all over the place. That's it. Hey, that was enough for me to finally give this game a look. See, and I want to thank you guys for all stopping by. Now, I know I'm neglecting my Kingdom Hearts duties, but I think we can find a compromise. Bam! There you go. Like, comment, and subscribe. And that's basically the end result of whatever I do for a living. So if I can do it, you guys can do it too. But that's I hope you guys enjoyed the first look at my Johnny vs. Knuckles Chaotix review. If anybody who couldn't make it, please tell them it'll be up on my channel soon after this panel ends. After I fix that audio error, because Sega Sonic the Hedgehog was not meant to be that loud. Oh boy, what are you gonna do? But anyway, basically it's good that I think the rest of this panel is just Q&A if everybody has any questions. If anyone would, you guys want to line up in the middle here, don't trample each other for the love of God. Ted, what?
When are you gonna do Kirby Marathon?
Shut the hell up, Ted.
Okay.
Can I get it's just serious, it's on a serious note here. I don't know why, but for some reason, like, when I dismissed the Kirby, like the Kirby video, like, at the end of our Gen 2 video, people thought I meant that, like, oh, he hates Kirby. Like, he absolutely detests Kirby. No, I don't. It was a joke.
You just said you don't tell jokes.
You're right, I hate Kirby. No, I'll look at Kirby at some point or another. Probably not now, though. Ted, close your mouth. It's rude when you open your mouth. Okay. What's up? You gonna like it? Yeah,
Come on, Russ.
I'm on it.
Fulfill your duties.
my bodyguard, everybody.
Hey.
They call him Russell the Muscle.
Yeah, Russell the Muscle. Solid foundation of their channels, like channels like mine and Let's Play channels, all that sort of thing. I was slightly affected by the ad boycott. I did see a dip in analytics and that sort of thing, but my priorities are always up. Like, my house is really important, paying the rent is really important, and groceries are really important. As long as I can pay that and the IRS, then I'm absolutely fine. It just means I won't be able to buy, this game this month, or maybe I can finally look at my backlog. For God's sakes, it's crying in pain. That's what. But it's just a part of life that you gotta deal with it.
Yep. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Hey Johnny.
Yo.
Sorry.
I love Tool Time.
So now that we know that Metroid Prime 4 is coming.
We did it, boys.
I was curious to know what you want to see most in a Metroid Prime 4.
A Metroid Prime game. Honestly, no, I don't really care at this point. I mean, it is a little weird, not to say bad, but it's a little weird that Retro Studios is not developing it. But there is a foundation at the very least. Because, the Donkey Kong Country Return series, Rare made the first few games, and Retro Studios made the other games. But from what I can tell, people love Returns and Tropical Freeze just as much, if not a little more, than the Country series. So, different developers or not, there's at least a foundation for the Prime series already set, because you have the 3 games. So, I am confident that whoever's developing Prime 4 will take what works, remove what didn't, and make a solid as ass game. I'm just happy we're getting one, finally.
Amen. Amen.
Twitter speaks for itself.
Wait, you never had a Twitter stroke?
Hi, Johnny.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Not much. Before I ask my question, I just want to say thank you, because when I'm working at my job, I'm spending 95% of my time driving, and your reviews, I listen to them all the time, and they help me from the madness of hearing the same.
You don't
pop
fall asleep
song.
behind the wheel, do you?
No, you help me keep the madness away from hearing the same pop song on over and over again. Anyway, how do you go through the selection process for selecting the games that you review?
Well, most of the time now it's pretty much fan requests. Which is why like last year I made the straw poll from the most heavily requested marathons of that time, which was at the time Star Fox, Metal Gear, and Earthbound. I wanted to see which one was more popular, but basically I do marathons based on what fan demands. But something like Kingdom Hearts, I won't lie, there's a lot of demand for that as well, but that's also something I've been meaning to do for years. But for the most part, it is what the fans want, and what do I hear the most attention for. Assuming you're not a jerk or anything like that, like lol, do this. Like, no, I don't want to do that. But that said, though, the next marathon after Kingdom Hearts is all dedicated to you guys. It's the Donators Marathon. So I just want to say that of course, I won't be able to get to all of them because since the last one, holy shit. I've gotten a lot of them, and it's all thanks to you guys. From the bottom of my heart, I deeply appreciate that. I don't know habla English. Sorry. But I just wanted to, please, for the love of God, give yourselves a round of applause for helping me help my channel grow. Thank you. You guys are the reason why I keep coming back to this.
Hello, Johnny.
Hello.
I remember you mentioning, I can't remember if it was your first or second indie showcase, but you were going to do Castle Crashers as a collab, and it's been at least a year or two, but you haven't gotten to that. What happened there?
Oh, you're talking about the Castle Crashers collab with Honest Bigums?
Yes.
Is he here? Hey, he's all the way in the back. You pathetic man, get up here. Yeah. So this is the channel, Honest Bigums. The plan was to, the original plan was actually to do Terraria together, but I ended up getting lost into the void.
Still on that?
Terraria. No, actually I'm not. Final Fantasy XIV is taking all my time.
I actually started that myself recently. A month ago.
Oh, hey, we're on the Diablo server. So.
I'm on the Diablo server.
Hey, so am I. Oh, shit. Yeah, so this is Honest Bigums, everybody. This is the person that I meant to collab with Castle Crashers so many years ago, but unfortunately I had so many scheduling conflicts that I just couldn't get to it. and I didn't want to break into another marathon with like a random review of Castle Crashers because it wouldn't make any sense. But yeah, this is the guy I wanted to cloud for a long time. So sorry. But that's essentially what it was. Pretty much sketch like conflicts. But if you haven't, like, you subscribe to his channel too, because he is pretty much he's up and coming. He's trying to do the same shit that I am.
So is my brother.
Hey, well, tell your brother good luck.
Also, you seem familiar with Monster Hunter when you were talking about in Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. Have you ever played a Monster Hunter game?
No.
All right then.
Does Peace Walker count?
Next time you're on Double Street, look for Darkest Flame.
Oh, I'll see what happens.
Really fun.
Hey, Johnny.
Hey, how's it going?
Going well. So with the Metroid 2 remake being done by Nintendo recently, it got me thinking, if there's one game that you want remade from the ground up today to be done, what would you want that game to be?
From the ground up?
Yeah, like a full-on brand new remake from a studio. What? Any game.
Oh my God.
Sonic 06.
Sonic 06. Well, actually, I don't really know.
Final Fantasy VII.
I was like, yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3.
Kingdom Hearts 3, HD
Yeah.
remake. Kingdom Hearts pie out of the oven.
Honestly, I don't really know because off the top of my head, I can't really think of a game that I would like to see from the ground up remade because they're kind of already doing that with Sonic Mania. And I would say Crash Bandicoot, but wait a minute, there's an Ed Save trilogy coming up next week, so like, my bases are pretty much covered. Yeah, so yeah, sorry, I know it's like pretty much a non-answer, but it's like I'm sorry, nothing's coming up top of my head at the moment. Thanks, man.
Hi, Johnny.
Okay, we got 10 minutes left, so we're not going to be able to get to everybody, but just one question per person, please.
Okay, I was talking with a bunch of guys on the line, and I decided to take one for the team and ask this question.
No.
Okay, will you ever do a drunken let's play of Sonic Freeriders?
Don't do it, John.
Don't do it!
Sure. I'll do it, yeah, why not? My death is in your hands.
What happened to the big from last year?
And for the record, I do not regret donating Sonic Freeriders to him for Christmas.
You monster!
I get that a lot. Hey man, this is actually a bit of a personal question, and this relates to both you, Johnny, and the SGB team. So I noticed, obviously this is a big year for you because of Sonic, Mario, mostly Sonic Mania, and also, but I actually didn't know this until recently. This is very personal for you because you're actually turning 30 years old this year.
Right.
And SGB, you're close to 100,000 subscribers. Matt, why are you sleeping?
How's that phone, by the way?
What's your question?
Do you have anything very special planned for your 30th birthday or 100,000 subscriber, like
100,000. All right, so
like
I mean, to me,
a party or anything
to
like
me
that? Just
personally, look, I'm not 5 anymore. I don't do parties. So I don't do parties anymore. Look, to me, I'm at an age where a birthday is just a number. You know, if it's there. I mean, I appreciate all like the shout outs on Twitter and all like that. I love every single one of you guys for doing that. As for the second question, the 100,000. Yeah, I don't know. SGB is really close to 100K at this moment. Yes, we do have something planned. All 3 of us have something individually planned.
Wait, we
for this
do?
channel. Yes, we do. This is Sonic Freeriders drunk. Summer is going to be a great time for SGB. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
No problem.
Hi, Johnny.
Hello.
So I'm a massive fan of yours. You're a giant inspiration to me. I think you're one of the.
I'm trying to lose weight.
I didn't think that like that. Okay, but whatever. So I'll just want to ask, like, a game that you've reviewed or played or whatever. What is the one game that you've done that your opinion has changed the most on over time?
From something I previously reviewed?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, I mean, Sonic Chronicles was probably the easiest answer because I thought the game was okay when I first played it. You know, I said it's alright. The Sonic Chronicles video. Oh man, I don't know. Actually, you know what? For gameplay reasons, Metroid Other M. Gameplay reasons. Structurally, it's still a piece of shit. Story-wise, it's a piece of shit. But I was revisiting it because I'm actually planning on recording it for Brain Scratch soon. And it wasn't as hard to go back to as I remember it being. There were a few things that just immediately clicked, and the horrible qualities aside, that means there's something salvageable in the gameplay at the very least. So if I were to relook at it, I'd probably be a little easier on the game mechanically, but I'd still be just as hard, if not harsher, on storyline and structurally.
I look forward to it, thank you.
Metroid Other Review.
Hello there, Johnny.
Hey, how's it going, man?
It's going well. All right, so this question. I guess this question goes out to you, Matt, and Elliot for the Punisher Let's Play. What was going through your minds, Matt specifically, when the moment he accidentally threw the sword in Takagi's face? Because I'm pretty sure he didn't mean to
That
do
was a highlight, though.
That was a case of, oh right, that button. Because you know what it is, when you have melee weapons, it's a different prompt to press to execute the command. And then it turns out that I was shooting for so long, I'm thinking melee is the same thing as the gunplay, so I pressed the trigger button and I threw the sword instead of actually fighting with it.
I don't follow the code of the samurai, but I'm pretty sure throwing a sword at the other person is a sign of honor. Okay, 2 more questions.
Hey, John.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you? I was wondering, was there ever a game that you played that you came really close to liking it, but there was maybe a small thing in it that prevented you from enjoying the game?
Like, just entirely?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I would say... no, Sonic Heroes... I mean, I can enjoy it if I'm only doing one playthrough of it. You know, unlocking the last story, that's the thing. Skyward Sword's a good one. I think it's just fine mechanically, but it's too bloated. Yeah, Symphony of the Night's a struggle to play through. No, I love Symphony of the Night. Batman Arkham Knight. I would say it's fantastic gameplay-wise, but the campaign sucks.
I agree with that.
Yeah. All right, last question. And then I'm going to throw gift cards at everybody.
Okay, so this is a question not only for you, but for all of the BSC and SGB crew.
What's up?
Okay, so I know that you have cited Doug Walker and James Rolfe as comedic influences, but what about the BSC crew that's still here and Super Gaming Brothers crew that's here? What are their comedic influences, and if you have any others besides Doug Walker and James Rolfe, could you say them two?
Well, it really is those two that I draw the most inspiration from. But Elliot, Ryan, Matt, Ted.
I got the mic. Homestar Runner. Homestar1.net. It's .com. Sorry. Homestar1.net. It's .com. Yeah, that's probably that for the most.
Is anybody taking me to a Chick-fil-A?
Anything on the internet, mainly memes?
Our future, ladies and gentlemen. I am a very dry Jewish guy, so Woody Allen, I guess.
I am my own source.
Matt, what do you know about that too?
The world around us. The world around us.
That's all I was to say. That's good.
And pretty much is a goon. Pretty much is something awful for
You frequent the something awful for us all the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's basically it. All right.
What about him?
I got some gift cards
What about
here.
Uncle?
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
How's it going, everybody? Okay, so I got some gift cards here. I'm terrified. Pulling each other's eyes out.
The one time.
No, it's okay.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do, because I got 5 here, and I really don't want anybody getting hurt. So first here, I got a $25 iTunes gift card here.
iPhone, I guess.
Who was the third character in Sega Sonic the Hedgehog? Not Mighty the Armadillo.
Red Flying Squirrel!
Red Flying Squirrel. Don't shout the answer.
Don't call him out. You give it
Red
somebody
Flying
else.
Squirrel. Yeah, too.
Happy birthday!
Guys, thanks though.
This may be a little. Alright, so a $20 Nintendo eShop gift card. Yes, there's still a thing, and you can transfer over to Switch. It's fine. Final Fantasy 14. Who's my main class?
Oh, I know! Gimme!
The Hyrule hat. Yeah.
Yeah, you.
Paladin?
Nope.
What's a paladin?
What's a paladin? Yellow glove. Yeah. What? Rogue? Nope, not rogue. Fanny pack.
It's a DS case. Marauder.
But be a little more specific?
I'd say that's a pass.
Well, no, it's obviously a tank. I'll give it to you. It's Marauder Warrior, yeah.
If you got a guild, I'll join it. I'd like to join you. Currently a level 18 Lancer. Yeah!
What does the B stand for in SGB? Brothers? Yeah, but that's it.
I mean, I would say bastards, but...
What was the first game I ever recorded for Brain Scratch?
Oh, I know.
Bob. No. Mega Man X. When is my birthday?
This year.
Not you, Elliot. Hey, Umbreon in the back.
July 28th?
Oh. No, sorry, can't get that to you. Jumping Teddy figure in the back for Minnesota.
Oh, that's me?
Yeah.
Thursday fall?
Let me see. You. Yes. Yes, July 27th. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of my panel. I love every single each one of you. Stay tuned for my review later down the road next year.